What's going on, guys? I'm being distracted right now. Sorry. Let's try that again. Good evening, everybody. This is the Going Broadway podcast on a special Monday night edition. At this point, we've done a show every single night of the week, probably every morning of the week. So at this point, it's not really a special night, but you're here, you're with us. That's important and that's special to us. Alex and Cole with you this evening. Cole, what's happening?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the special edition, if you will, of the Going Broadway podcast here on Monday nights. Monday nights is GBP. All right, that's what it is tonight, at least.
Every night's a GBP night.
That's right.
Literally, for the last 12 days, it has been.
True.
We'll talk more about that in the next hour-ish. We'll elaborate on that, but let's see who all we got. We got the original heel, still undefeated as a hockey coach. Awesome. We all know who this is. Speaking of our GBP nightly streams. Andrew, 100% agree. Bruce, what's going on? Who else we got on here? Aaron Wallace, good evening. Aaron, a friend of yours? That's a new name to me.
I don't know Aaron Wallace, but I want to.
Well, and we've neglected to say this, but if you're watching and this is your first time joining us, or second time, or first time in a while, let us know. We love to give our new viewers or first time in a while viewers a good old shout out. Taking you down a rung. I need a little drum roll sound effect here. Who else we got? I think we just about covered everybody. Brian Griffin, good evening. Chris, indeed. Thomas, good evening. All right. I think we covered just about everybody. And if I missed you, I apologize. But at this point, we got some business to take care of. Got some stuff to talk about. Let's lead in with this. And this is going to be a surprise to Cole because we have our own little chat where we plan the show ahead of time and things like that. But a friend of the show is getting a tryout match this evening. In fact, I guess it might have already happened technically, but
I saw that.
Friend of the show, Kylie Ray, she's been on with us 3 times, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 3.
Supposedly, allegedly, rumored to be joining WWE imminently, but allegedly, supposedly, she had a tryout match before Raw tonight. I'm going to make my thoughts short and sweet on it. I'm super happy for her, super stoked. Could not happen to a nicer person. I mean, we've talked to her on the podcast. We've talked to her in person. Literally, Andrew, she literally is. Very well could be. Besides me and Cole, she's the one that's been on our podcast the most. So
true.
But no, I'm super happy for her. And for what it's worth, guys, we'd love to have her back on the show. It's something we've, made an effort to make happen and still hopeful it will. But we'll see. I know that if she is joining WWE, her schedule is going to get a lot more busy, which is why I'm hoping we can make it happen sooner than later. But no, I'm just super stoked. I think she had a match with Dana Brooke, or is having. I think the story was that it was before Raw, taping for main event, or maybe it was after Raw. Do you remember?
I thought it was before.
Okay, that's what I thought too. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it up. But your thoughts?
Yeah, so I knew about the WWE tryout. Obviously, I think she was there last week at the Performance Center as well for a tryout. And I saw this posting, and just because I have a platform, I'm going to use it. Because I saw this posting of somebody talking about her, and it got very negative very quick, based off of, her time with Impact, her time with AEW, or if you even want to call it that, her time, if you will, with AEW. She did like one show, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and got out. But people were like, I don't know if WWE should sign her because look what she did here and look what she did here and yada yada yada. And so I gotta get this off my chest when it comes to her, because you said it. She is the nicest person you will probably ever meet. And I don't like, it's not a camera, it's not a persona, it's not a gimmick. We've had the pleasure of meeting her in person. We've had the pleasure of talking to her off camera. She is actually very introverted.
Or an extended amount of time, by the way. It's not like just a quick,
right. It's not a
minute
high
conversation.
We've had a chance to actually build a personal connection to her, and so I had to like I mean I got on this chat thread, and this isn't really like me, but I was just like, guys, if anything, WWE offers her what other companies couldn't or wouldn't. She's in a great place. I'm sure. I don't remember the date to the exact, but I'm sure she's over a year, if not close to a year, of being completely sober. We were celebrating milestones with her not too long ago on that, and she's in a way better place. But even if she were to slip, the way that WWE is structured and set up, it offers her the best um, um, supporting system to help her through whatever it is that she may encounter. For instance, I brought this up. I was like, we're over here saying Kylie shouldn't get another champ because she has some mental breakdown here or there, or she was struggling with depression or anxiety, which many of us do these days. We're gonna exclude her because she did what was best for her, but then we'll give Jeff Hardy 783 tries to try to be sober. Or for instance, I just read that Matt Riddle was written off TV because he failed another drug test and they're sending him to rehab. We'll give all these other people chance after chance after chance. I mean, if we want to go back into the 90s, the 80s, we see all these dark side of the rings. My goodness, the amount of people that they gave chance after chance after chance to, that were dealing with substance abuse and all these other things. So I am extremely happy for her. I hope that they sign her. I hope that I think they're missing out if they sign her. We've said it here before. We've had the pleasure of watching her wrestle. We know the wrestling mind that's there. And I think she's better than some of the talent that's on the current roster. I think that she offers a lot more. And I'm just praying that they put the Smile Gang shirts into action on the WWE shop so I can get me a Smile Gang shirt and I can support her and whatnot. But I think she's a great fit for NXT right now. With the women's division kind of being only like 3 or 4 names, it feels like that are really top dogs. I think she's an instant, call up whenever you're ready, for her on the main roster. I think it's a great fit. She fits perfect with the WWE product. I thought she would have been now looking at where AEW is right now, she would have been a terrible signing for AEW. She would literally be like what Penelope Ford is right now in AEW. The name that they put in every title match for her to lose. And Impact, I mean, that's how she got over. So I'm not going to diss her time in Impact because that's where I think people really got familiar with her. But she's a notch above everybody that's in Impact right now. I mean, it's not even close. So, I mean, she, and then someone said, well, she hasn't worked a match in so long. I was like, she's literally on the indies like every single weekend. I mean, she probably works more than some of the people that are in WWE.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to make this a long-winded thing, but I just wanted to get it out there. She's a great person. Just like all of us, she's had, things that she's battled in her life, but I can speak personally knowing that she was very proud and very happy that she did what was best for her. She took time away. And here's the crazy thing, and people don't know this, like she has a Patreon page. She would literally refund people their money back when she was taking a break from wrestling, saying, I don't want to take your money from you if I'm not doing it actively right now.
Yeah.
And so she would actually pause, give you the option to pause your Patreon account or, get a refund because she was doing what was best for her. That's class. I mean, that is other people would have been like, no, you already paid it. No, you're already committed. No, she is one of the most legit people I've met in the business. A lot of these people end up being sometimes kind of fake or whatever, down to earth, as real as they come. And I hope they do the right thing and they sign her.
Agreed. And I wasn't intending for this to be, a long, lengthy conversation, and we'll keep it short and sweet. But I just want to touch on this. That's just it. Like, the story writes itself. Like, I mean, immediately, like, you have creative direction for her. Like, even if she doesn't go right for Bailey, like, even if even if she does spend some time in NXT, maybe she's the person that takes the belt off Mandy Rose. I'd be down for that. And if she goes straight to Raw or SmackDown, again, I mean, there's so many things you can so many directions you could go.
We're also assuming that she's a one-trick pony. Like, the only gimmick she has under her arsenal is Smiley Kylie, kind of thing. I obviously said the Smile Gang thing because we've teased that here on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
But what if she comes out and she's a heel off the jump? What if they help her recreate and the best part about this business is you can be whoever you want to be. If you're willing to put in the work and the effort. So what if she's not the Kylie that we've all seen on the indies? What if she comes out and she's something completely different? So I think she's talented enough to stretch herself beyond the character that she's played for so long.
So hoping to see big things in due time. Speaking of WWE, so our off the top, just quick spoiler, mini spoiler, all of our off the top is going to be all WWE. So William Regal is now VP Regal. Did you see this?
I did just see. I actually just read that right before the show started.
So I just wanted to mention that. Big congratulations to Mr. William Regal. Did it say his specific title? All I saw was just he was hired as a VP and he's going to start at the beginning of the year.
So I saw VP, but I'm curious of what, like is it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I didn't see
because I don't know how they have it divvied up. Like, do they have it divvied up to where he could be like a VP over SmackDown operations, over Raw, like over NXT? Like, I don't really know the company corporate structure enough to know like how many VP slots there are and what they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
but if he's working closely with Triple H, wouldn't it? I mean, it's what it sounds like it's going to be too. I guess that would be vice president of talent relations.
Yeah. I mean, granted, I don't think they've hired a replacement for, I guess it was Laurinaitis that was VP of talent relations previously. And he's obviously not around anymore. So I don't know.
I'm just saying that him and Triple H, I mean, they're like, I mean, it seems as if they are going to be working hand in hand. And it seems like they're pretty happy with Shawn Michaels doing the NXT stuff now. So it's like, I don't think you put him back, Regal back where he was.
No.
So I'm thinking VP of talent relations is what came to my mind initially.
Yeah, I'd be all for it. And then the ongoing WrestleMania rumors are becoming more fruitful, I guess, in terms of WrestleMania coming together. I read today that the plans for WrestleMania are solid. They are, barring injuries, they are set in stone, which is kind of nice given the last few years with where WWE has been going into WrestleMania season. They'd still be putting together storylines a month before Mania. And the fact that
weeks before Mania.
Yeah. And the fact that supposedly everything is planned. Don't want to say etched in stone because, again, barring injuries, everything is in place. So I wanted to touch on some of the possible rumored matches. What do you think about possible opponents for Cena? Let's start with that one.
See, I'm curious because I want to know what his appearance is going to look like here in this next week. What is it? This next Friday?
No, it's actually the last SmackDown of the month, so it'd be the 30th.
Okay. So obviously, I feel like he's setting up for a match at Rumble. Because I don't know why him just showing up for no reason doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me,
Okay.
especially since the last time he showed up for like his celebration of 20 years or whatever on Raw. It literally was just him showing up. There was no build to anything. It
No
was just
storyline implications. No.
just a one-off. So I don't really see another one-off being anything here. I think we're gonna see the. I wouldn't be shocked if we see the Walter Cena match at Rumble.
Okay.
I don't really like the idea of Cena being in the Rumble, so I think I'm gonna ixnay that off the jump. So as far as WrestleMania goes, I don't see him beating Walter either. I really don't, because I mean I think people would say Austin Theory, especially now that he's United States champion again and has the belt. So maybe Austin Theory. Um, it's really hard because I don't currently I don't see a storyline where I really feel like he fits without it feeling forced. Maybe.
Yeah. So here's where I'm at. Um, I think I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit, and who knows, one of us might be right. We both might be wrong. I don't know, but we'll see. But I think that here's how I see this going down. I feel like him wrestling at the Rumble in just a singles match, you kind of kill the momentum going into having him be that special attraction at Mania. So I'm thinking they kind of tease a not a match, but like they start the tease for a feud, maybe more than one to keep us guessing. But what happens is he does enter the Rumble, but gets somehow, you know, gets eliminated by the guy that's going to be his Mania opponent, or somehow gets distracted and gets tossed over by somebody else. I don't think we're going to see the Cena Walter Gunter match. If we do, I'll be pleasantly surprised. Don't get me wrong. As far as who his opponent would be at Mania, I'm going with Logan Paul. I don't know how they get to it, but I'm going through my mind like LA Knight seems very underwhelming. I don't see the match with him and Gunther happening. Because again, I agree that would feel forced. Not that him and Logan Paul wouldn't feel forced, but at the same time, Logan Paul's not been on TV, so he hasn't been in any other matches or feuds at this point. So it would be something new for the both of them. So by process of elimination, that's really sorry, I forgot to Austin Theory. Even though they've already teased it, I still think it would feel forced at this point, especially because he's U.S. champion. Because we've seen Cena go for the U.S. championship before at WrestleMania, on multiple occasions.
Right.
It's just something they've already done. So
That's why that's the only reason why the Gunter match actually really appeals to me, is because it's the IC belt.
yeah,
And you that's again a story that writes itself. Maybe I'm in the minority. I could give a rat's crap to see a Logan Paul versus John Cena match. Like, not, and it's not that like, Logan Paul's not good in the ring or anything like that. But now we're just talking, it's almost like a celebrity death match. Like, it's just like, here's two guys that don't on a consistent basis get in the ring and wrestle, and we're gonna just put a match together for the biggest show of the year. I would almost much rather them save that for like a crown jewel or a whatever, where it'll sell tickets and it doesn't really matter who wins.
yeah,
A WrestleMania, I want every match, especially now that it's under Triple H and this new regime, if you will. I want every match to have a big feel. I want every match to have purpose. I want it to make sense. I want storylines to feel big. I just don't know if I feel like John Cena versus Logan Paul feels big. I get that, the celebrity appearances and all that. It's all part of Mania.
yeah.
I just don't know if I feel like again, I can understand the Rumble thing. I can go either way on the Rumble stuff as far as Cena entering, and obviously that's an easy way to write a storyline.
Well, here, I'll give you one more too. And this is if for some reason he's not going to be in the title picture at Mania. I have a hard time believing he won't be, but I've been wrong and I've been surprised before. Cena versus Cody.
Yeah, that one actually could feel big. And again, you kind of run maybe a similar storyline to how he did Roman Reigns with the, you can't win the big one, kind of thing with him, and kind of do that with Cody, and you kind of because we've talked. I don't know if you have Roman Reigns lose the belt at Mania. I don't know if that's the right timing at this point, and because it almost feels predictable now, right? Like we're just waiting for Mania for him to drop it because it's got to be at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
No, swerve us all the way. Like make it like the pay-per-view afterwards or a Monday Night Raw at this point. Like a SmackDown, NXT event. I don't care. Like just completely swerve me. But so I kind of you could run that with Cena because you could save Cody for when it is time. If you want Cody to be the guy to take it off Roman, I'm good with that. But another big win would be Cody beating Cena.
Yeah.
On the biggest stage of I'm not opposed to that. That actually is more intriguing to me than the others.
There's one for you.
Cena versus Sami Zayn.
I hadn't thought of that. I'm not sold on it, but I wasn't sold on Sammy being part of the bloodline in the first place, and look how that turned out. So I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but they'd have to do a lot of storyline switcheroo type stuff if they're gonna do that.
The build up to it would be the best part. I'd like the promos against each other, the back and forth stuff. That would be hilarious. I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what we would all want to see. I think the problem would be that the match would be underwhelming. Is that they don't really, their styles are very clashing, and I just don't really see that being for WrestleMania. Again, if we're talking any other pay-per-view, you might have me sold a little bit more, but
yeah,
for Mania, I need every match especially if you're doing 2 nights, I need every match to feel big.
Yeah. Andrew, I was not from the beginning, but I've since come around. Okay, so that kind of gives a good segue into title picture scenarios. Now let's talk about what we think will happen, not necessarily what we want to happen, because I think you and I both agree we'd be more than okay being swerved and Roman just retaining both championships coming out of Mania, because everyone expects him to lose one or both of them. And you and I are probably in the minority that we'd be more than okay at this point. As long as this thing is over, keep riding it, keep rolling with it. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. So as far as how they get to it, I don't really know. But I do think inevitably they split up the championships and Roman loses at least one of them. But I'm not sold on who at this point yet.
So I think it's safe to say that we're gonna say Roman pulls double duty. We're gonna say that he has probably night one is the opening match on the card, because they'll probably do the women's title picture as the main event. That's how they've been doing it for one of the nights as the main event. And then night 2 would be Roman Reigns in the main event. That's what I'm gonna guess. So I think it's safe to say that they'll probably put each title on the line. They haven't really been building. This is where the negative would be. They haven't really been building a storyline in the long-term setting yet. And maybe they're about to start, because you still have time to do it, on him being like, you know what? I'm tired of defending both these titles. You don't deserve to have both these titles on the line. Like, so I'm only going to defend the one.
Yeah.
And so I think, you run, for instance, if obviously the big name we're going to throw out, let's just get it out of the way, is The Rock. Everyone is thinking Roman versus The Rock. If you're going to do separate titles, perfect. Because now you can do Roman versus The Rock on night 2, and you can do Roman versus the Royal Rumble winner night 1. And, we can talk about whoever we want to talk about for as far as potentials for that. I say night 1, you have him drop. You have him drop the first belt. Now he's got even more motivation to beat The Rock. He's got more motivation to stand up for the bloodline. You can show all the dissension and the breakup ties again within, the bloodline. They're trying to help Roman get the win, and, whatever happens there, yada, yada, yada. But then against The Rock, they cheat like all get out to make sure Roman wins. And it's not a clean win over The Rock, but it's the match that we were waiting for. And, so I like those concepts. As far as names to take a belt, The Rock is not the guy. I would
agree.
That would be one of those moments where I'd be like, okay, you know what? I might be done watching because you can't tell me that we're building up all these future stars and then have this long, lengthy run for Roman be broken by a guy that won't work more than 4 dates for you a year.
Yeah.
At most. So, I'm thinking, obviously I like Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes is a great pick to do it. I'm not going to change my mind on this. I'm still on the Sami Zayn train to be the guy. And again, here's a story that writes itself. Roman Reigns isn't going to be in the Royal Rumble, right? He's going to have a title match. I think right now it's rumored to be KO or Sheamus. Between one of the two as his title defender at Rumble. So what if main event Jey Uso? What if Jimmy Uso? What if Sami Zayn are all in the Royal Rumble match? Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble, and it's all an accident. Like it wasn't even planned that way, and he ends up winning. And then now there's this dissension, right? There's this dissension, and they're going to say, hey, Sammy, if you're really about the bloodline, you'll go out there and you'll just lay down. You'll just lay down and you'll take the pin from the tribal chief. We got to protect the bloodline. And then you still do all the seeds that are sown, the KO stuff, all this stuff, all these people putting stuff in his head. If the person, the Sammy I knew would never lay down, and all this stuff. The crowd, instant baby face turn for Sammy, as the crowd's going to be chanting Usi and, all this stuff. They're going to be behind him, and you have him be the guy. So I'm still on. There's ways to write Sammy in to win this match. So I think if I had to have a top 3, I'm looking at Cody Rhodes, I'm looking at Sami Zayn, and I'm probably looking at AJ Styles.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think because AJ Styles winning the Rumble could be intriguing. You got a veteran guy who hasn't been champion in a while. I think those are the 3 names for me that I could be like, yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with those 3. No
Seth Rollins in that picture.
The only reason why I can't say Seth Rollins is because you've already done it and had him lose. And so I really don't want to see a repeat challenger come back and beat him. So even though I would be okay with like it wouldn't make me mad if Seth was the guy. It wouldn't make me mad if KO was the guy, or Drew McIntyre, any of those guys. But you've already done it and had them lose. I kind of want it to be like somebody who hasn't done it that was able to say, yeah, I beat you. Yeah, I was the one. So those are the 3 names that kind of speak out the most to me as I think the most plausible or the easiest way I think you could get to it.
Yeah. So I do like this. I do like the idea of Sammy being in the title picture. I'd be all for it. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm going to touch on a few things as far as the title picture going into Mania. So what I think is going to happen is probably KO will get the title shot at the Rumble and not win. I think in some way, shape, or form, there will be a title match at, I think it's Elimination Chamber that's in between Rumble and Mania. In some way, shape, or form, whether it's a chamber match or if it's a one-on-one match or if it's somehow a multi-guy match, Sami Zayn is in that match. And at that point, he is completely Like he's done a face turn by this point. Again, don't know how they do it, don't know how they get there. Whatever. And then inevitably, what Chris said, I think it's going to be KO and Sammy going for the tag titles at Mania, and I think they'll win them. Do I agree with it? Do I think they could? Do I agree with it? No. Do I think they could do something better / more, no pun intended, impactful? Absolutely. But that being said, that's how I see that rolling out. Oh, and yeah, I'm sorry, I did forget to mention this. Another reason why I think that somehow, I think it sells more if you have a one-on-one match by that point with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. I know that KO is from Canada, so really, in theory, I guess you could you could have Sami Zayn challenge Roman at Rumble and then KO at Elimination Chamber. Inevitably, I don't think it matters. I think it's kind of interchangeable, but I think you're going to need longer than what Rumble's about a month and a half away. I think you might need a little longer than a month and a half to get Sammy away from the bloodline. So that's kind of my logic there. As far as the guys that you mentioned, I agree, but I would replace. So I think Cody's the guy. I would put Seth Rollins number 2, replacing Sammy, and then I think I'd put AJ third as well. But I wanted to bring this up just as kind of like an unplanned fantasy booker segment within a segment. What if you had, and this would be kind of a swerve, what if you kept the belts together, you didn't separate them? What if Seth wins the Rumble, so he'll challenge for the belts at Mania, but then in some way, shape, or form, you actually have Cody win the championships at Elimination Chamber, so it sets up Cody versus Seth again for the championships at Mania. And then at that point, if you want to do Roman versus Rock, there's not a championship involved. You don't have to worry about that. Don't know.
I like the idea of Roman versus Rock without belts. I really do, because I think the battle for the title of head of the table, the bloodline, I think that has an intriguing enough story there without belts. So as much as I'd love to agree with you, I think the way they separate the belts is through the Rumble, because the stipulation will be that you can challenge for one of them.
Yeah.
That's how it's always read. And so they'll say we've never really encountered this before. You don't just get to challenge Roman for both belts. You get to challenge Roman, but it's going to be for
just one of them.
You have to pick one.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
And so then, they pick one, the other one. And then I think that's how they'll divvy up, because then they want to do the draft like right after Mania. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to see the belts divided at Mania. I just don't know how they're going to do it. I like the idea of Seth versus, Cody. So, I mean, if you wanted to try to divide them at Chamber, you could have Cody win the Chamber. You could have Sammy turn in the Chamber, and that's how it all happened. I mean, there's a lot of fantasy things you can go with at that point. But I will say this. If they do KO and Sammy as tag champs, they really missed a huge payoff moment.
I agree.
The Sami Zayn stuff that's going on right now is so much bigger than him winning tag titles. It's for both of them, for KO, for Sammy, for the bloodline. When Roman Reigns says we're cooking steaks over here over a year ago, I agree, which means that this better be a tasty steak and not just looks good on the menu. When I ordered it and it got to my table, it was raw. So
no pun intended.
I really think that they should do more with Sammy than just have him challenge for tag titles.
Agreed. Lastly, and this is actually the one so what's appealed to me going into Mania is the prospect of Cody Rhodes finally winning the big one, winning the world championship, kind of not avenging isn't the right word, but finally getting the holy grail of championships that eluded Dusty all those years. This potential matchup actually got me more excited than that. Brock Lesnar against Gunther. That will be just a downright, I mean, it's going to be a brawl.
You would hope.
Man,
my only concern, because I saw it, I saw the rumor. I think that's the way to go. I think they'll do Lashley and Lesnar at either Rumble or Chamber to get their final three, their third match out of the way, if you will. You've heard me say this. This is what would make me nervous about, especially at Mania. Brock only likes to do one kind of match, and he's good at that kind of match. For the sake of Mania, I hope he's willing to get outside of his box. I hope he's willing to take some chops. I hope he's willing to allow Gunther to look dominant and have those moments. And I hope it's not we're going to brawl outside the ring for 4 minutes. We're going to get in the ring. I'm going to German you 6 times. I'm going to F5 you 3. You're going to kick out of all of the F5s. You're going to hit me, several times with this move and that move. And, I'm going to kick out all of those. And then, whoever's supposed to go over is just going to go over then. Like it needs to be different. And that's what.
No, for sure. I agree. I mean, what makes me hopeful is that two things. One, I feel like he kind of stepped out of that box with Roman at SummerSlam. I feel like that it went longer. It had some different dynamics than your normal Lesnar match that we were used to seeing. So there's that. I forgot the second point I was going to make. Hold on, it'll come back to me. Oh, no, that's what it was. So you would think that, ahead of time, these guys would, talk backstage and just be like, this is the match that we're going to have, kind of like you said, Lesnar's going to have to understand that he's going to take some chops that hurt. But what I was getting at is the match with Gunther and Sheamus was not a wrestling clinic by any means, but it was still an insane match. And actually, I mean, they've had 2 matches together. Both of them were good, but the one they had at Clash at the Castle, I think,
that was a match of the year candidate. And that's what I'm saying, is that this needs to be that aggressive.
Oh yeah.
And Brock's able to sell that. We saw that when he came back, when he did the matches with Triple H, with Cena, and they did the Kimura lock and the breaking of the arms and, all that stuff. So I'm just hoping that it's not I hope it's more than the normal Brock match, though, is my point. That's the only thing that nerve wracks me about that lineup is, are we going to get the same Brock Lesnar, 6-minute match?
Yeah, let's hope not. We got some pay-per-views to chat about. Now, disclaimer, Cole, I don't know how much of these you've seen. I've only seen bits and pieces of them both, so I can't give super detailed, in-depth analysis by any means, but I can speak to the ones I've seen, the matches I've seen. So as far as Final Battle goes, I'm not even going to worry about talking about the pre-show matches, other than one point I want to make. It might be Ring of Honor, but AEW is still definitely favoring their AEW guys, because they had Top Flight go over the Kingdom, right? Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. Didn't see any of the matches, didn't see any of the pre-show, to be completely honest. But to me, that strikes me as kind of, you kind of touted the signings of Taven and Bennett, and I can understand if this was an AEW card, but this was Ring of Honor. Like, this is supposed to be
put over your Ring of Honor guys.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't do that there. So did you watch any of the match? Did you watch?
I did not watch the 0 hour.
Okay.
I did watch the rest, but I'll say this. The only thing I thought of about Top Flight winning is, what if they're going to put Top Flight on ROH?
And they probably will, but I'm speaking to date. It's been the Kingdom on Ring of Honor. Like it's
For
been
sure.
their,
They're a marquee name
yeah,
within the Ring of Honor banner.
yeah. So the first match, Blake Christian and AR Fox defeated Rush and Dracolisto. 10.5 minutes. Didn't watch it, but I know all of the names in the match. Did you see it? Was it any good?
So I did. I mean, I watched the whole card.
Okay.
I could have actually, just being completely real, I could have actually flipped the Top Flight match though, just by watching the match and hearing the other. I didn't watch the Top Flight match, but hearing that matchup versus this, I would have much rather watched the Kingdom versus Top Flight than this match. This match was not that it was bad. It's boring. One, I don't get the hype on AR Fox. I just don't. He's boring to me. That's just my opinion. I do like Blake Christensen or Christian. I can't remember what he's going by now. I kind of wish NXT would have never let him go because dude is a freaking highlight reel. He's a lot of fun to watch. Not a fan of the stuff they're doing with Preston Vance, with
No kidding.
the Rush stuff, and Rush is not very convincing to me either. Maybe it's just the people that were involved in the match. It wasn't like the match is bad, but this was your opener, and I just felt like it fell flat for me.
Yeah. Athena finally gets used correctly, defeats Mercedes Martinez, becomes a Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. 13-minute match. Didn't watch it, but
I enjoyed this match, and I enjoyed how they built the match with playing back into their old indie days, and really building that up. And one smart move to take the belt off Mercedes. Period. I know she was injured, but I didn't understand that booking in the first place. I didn't understand putting the belts on her in the first place. Now, if they're smart, they use Athena like nobody's business. You make her dominant. You don't have her drop this in a month. I'm good with it if she's not an AEW talent. She was interviewed, I think, here recently and asked, what the difference is, why she chose AEW over WWE, or whatever the case is, and she said that she wanted to be focused on wrestling, and so ROH, their product needs to be wrestling focused. That's what fans liked about that product, and so hopefully they allow her to put on some clinics with some talented women and showcase that Tony Khan knows how to book a women's match correctly. Because so far in AEW, outside of like 3 matches in their 3 years of existence, so maybe one women's match a year, you nail it on the head. So show me that you can do better with the women's division with Athena as ROH Women's Champion.
One thing I read about this match was that the heel and the face role kind of shifted mid-match. So basically,
I would actually say it was never. They booked this wrong in the standpoint of they were trying to make Athena the heel,
right?
But people want her to win.
Oh yeah,
so
100%.
And Mercedes can play a heel, but they had her save the day. They had Athena doing this more aggressive thing on Rampage and AEW. The knockouts and all that stuff. So they were trying to make Athena more aggressive and more heel like, but people wanted her to win. So I kind of felt like off the jump, it was more one of those root for who you want to root type of matches. Like there wasn't really that heel dynamic present like you would think there should be.
For sure. Next match, Swerve in Our Glory defeats Shane Taylor Promotions. A little under 14-minute match. The only thing I can speak to is they still didn't split these guys up yet.
Well, they did.
Well,
with how they booked it, I mean, they're definitely the dissensions there.
Oh yeah, but they didn't actually do any kind of I think payoff that my way of how can I say this? The payoff would be Swerve attacking Keith or something like that, or coming attacking him from behind, something like that.
I mean, agreed. Here's the thing: this match shouldn't have happened. Not on ROH. You have your previous AEW tag champions fighting a last minute thrown together match on an ROH card. The storyline doesn't make sense because you've already teased the dissension once between Lee and Swerve. And this is what bothered me. So I watched ROH before it, took its hiatus or whatever. And one of the highlights for me was Shane Taylor Promotions. I actually enjoyed that 6-man team. I enjoyed the dynamic of their gimmick and whatnot. What was with the dude looking like a UFC kickboxer outfit thing? Like you had Shane Taylor and his partner, like they didn't even look like they go together. Like they're in the same team. They looked like two guys that got thrown. They almost looked like jobbers that got thrown together, for this match. So I much rather would have liked to have seen just Keith Lee versus Shane Taylor if you wanted to do a playoff on the old days and the territory days and stuff when they were when they were running the game together at that point in time. And then if you wanted to put this guy in his corner for Shane Taylor and you still wanted to have Swerve out there, you could have asked Swerve to be at ringside and, done that stuff the same. But this match was like it was, the problem is it was below par for Swerve and Keith Lee. And that's what bothers me about the whole thing is that outside of a few spots, I'm kind of like, this match didn't need to happen.
Here's why I don't listen to Bleacher Report. They gave this match an A-.
See, it wasn't. Again, it was below. The match wasn't like it. And let me preface by saying there wasn't a match on this card that was like, oh my god, that was terrible. It was more like underdelivered. The names that are in this match underdelivered. You look at Keith Lee and Swerve, and you just had them wrestle these high energy matches with the Acclaimed and try to do these big spots and whatever, and then you do this match, and like I said, it feels like you have this this created character as Shane Taylor's partner, and then Shane Taylor, I don't even know who that guy was. Like, why is he on the card?
Exactly.
You couldn't have found another ROH guy to partner, because I don't remember that guy being a part of Shane Taylor Promotions. I could be wrong.
He wasn't.
They basically were calling him that, but you would be much better with picking any other name that is on your AEW roster that's sitting on the sidelines right now as Shane Taylor's partner. I would have much rather him partner with Tony Nese and put Tony Nese on the card versus a guy that is wearing kickboxing shorts, and there was no rhyme or reason to the match. And so like I said, outside of the Keith Lee did the backflip off the second rope, kind of got back to a little bit more of the Keith Lee we like to watch, which I feel like we haven't really gotten to be showcased as much in AEW yet. Outside of that, it wasn't great.
Next match, the Embassy, which includes friend of the show, Brian Cage, and the Gates of Agony, defeated Dalton Castle and the Boys to win the Ring of Honor World 6-Man Tag Team Championship, pretty much right at a 10-minute match. This I did watch, and I can get where you're coming from with the comment that a lot of the matches on the card under-delivered. Now, granted, I didn't have a whole lot of expectations because I've never been a proponent of Dalton Castle or Dalton Castle and the Boys. I don't understand why Dalton Castle was ever Ring of Honor champion or a champion in the first place. Like Dalton Castle seems like a flamboyant version of
Danhausen?
No. Who's the guy? He was in AEW. He wrestles a lot on the GCW cards, the glasses, long hair. Help me out, guys. Why can't I think of the dude's name? It's because he doesn't matter.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Joey Nutella.
He does actually, Chris. Yeah, he actually does remind me of Effie.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he reminds me. Hold on a second. I'll look at something real quick. Oh, never mind. Okay. I was gonna make a joke, but the joke wouldn't work, so I'm gonna kill it. But anyway, yeah, Joey Janela. It's like Joey Janela and Effie equal Dalton Castle. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like just Dalton Castle so slow in the ring. He looks small, but then like he's got a beer gut practically. And
so let me address this because I see what you're saying. I can understand the entertainment side of Dalton Castle. I could see people finding him entertaining, but he is in the same category for me as Danhausen, as Orange Cassidy, as R-Truth. Can they be talented in the ring? Probably, sure. But how their gimmick, it can only go so far, and it's more entertainment than it is wrestling. And so I'm going to say this. I'm glad that they at least put a belt on Brian Cage.
Oh, yeah.
That they're using Brian Cage. I still feel like this is a demotion compared to what you could do with that man. But maybe it's a start to building towards using him in the singles picture at some point.
I hope so.
Down the line, as ROH now has, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as a weekly program coming soon. So hopefully they utilize them.
Paywalled.
Yeah, I want to talk. We'll talk about that here at the end. But
let's see. I'm also trying to be mindful at the time. It's almost 8 o'clock already. So
right.
Let's breeze through the rest of this. So Yuta wins the Pure Championship, defeating Daniel Garcia by referee stoppage. 15 minutes. I mean, it was what I expected it to be. Briscoes defeated FTR, double dog collar match, 22 minutes. I mean, this was a great match, but I'm going to be probably in the minority and say this was the least, I don't want to say least exciting. This was my least favorite of the 3 matches that they had together. Now, it's not their fault, but you obviously can't do split screens throughout the entire match.
Right.
But because you couldn't follow the entire match because they couldn't cover it, that kind of took away from it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from the spots by any means. Ryan, I actually dug that spot. I thought it was unique. You don't ever see that. So props to Mike Posey for that spot. There were some
hot take there.
Yeah. So there were some insane spots in that match, and I don't want to take away from it.
It was by far the match of the night.
Oh yeah, I mean that just goes to show how amazing of matches all 3 of those have been. That, in my opinion, maybe the worst of the 3 was still your match of the night. I mean,
and I'm glad they ended up putting them back on the Briscoes again with their weekly televised, or weekly broadcast show coming up. I think that makes sense. Do want to get your thoughts real quick on the Dax tweet of him saying, y'all, it's over or something like that. Are we getting encryptions here? Is there something we're missing as far as the future of FTR?
You got to elaborate because I'll tell you what, I'll just look it up real quick because
there's a tweet he posted, and I think it said something about it's finished or it's over. Thank y'all so much, or something like that. I don't know if it maybe everyone's just reading into it more than what it is. Maybe he's just saying, hey, we did the ROH thing, now we're done. But there was a tweet, I guess, that was out there that he had said something about it's over, or it's finished, and there was a lot of speculation on it being like an encrypted tweet, like there's more to it than that.
Well, if it was from Dax, then you know what day it was?
No, I mean, obviously, I saw it on a.
Oh, I see. Thread. It's over. It's over. Thank you all.
Yeah. There's a lot of people saying that that's an encrypted tweet. Like, there's more to that than just how it reads. So I didn't know if you saw that, but curious if you think that there's FTR contract is up in March, I believe.
I mean, I think just on the surface, I think he was just referring to the match, because I mean it was
could easily see that
anyone could have predicted that it was going to be a hard hitting, grueling match with, all of. I mean, it's a dog collar match. What do you expect?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see, but I do agree that over the next, I'll give it 3 months tops. I think we do see them drop IWGP tag belts at Wrestle Kingdom. And I think by, late January, early February, we see them drop the AAA tag belts as well. Mainly because I think they're going back to WWE. I mean, I think that's a conversation for, another podcast, but I don't think they're sticking around.
Right.
So, and I think, if we do see them drop the tag belts, I think at that point the writing's on the wall. I think it's, I think it just the exit of FTR writes itself at that point. Samoa Joe defeated Juice Robinson to be the only person, I believe, that retained his championship on the card. 13 and a half minutes. I didn't actually watch this one. Any good? Yes, no.
I mean, I found it boring.
I mean, I just, the order of the card seemed odd. I mean, to me, sure, your Ring of Honor World Championship match has to go on last, but you should have put the tag match should have been your next to last match.
Your co-main event.
Yeah, your Ring of Honor World Television title match could have opened your card.
Yeah.
So, and then Claudio wins the Ring of Honor World Championship, defeating Chris Jericho, 17 minutes and 15 seconds.
I got beef here.
I want to hear your beef.
All right, here. This is the biggest issue I had with Jericho winning the belt. What was the purpose? What was the purpose of having him hold the belt at all at this point? Because, and this is why I wanted to wait to the end to talk about their $9.99 paywall to watch ROH television.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna let you close the segment with that. I just wanted to say one thing about the match itself. The match was what I expected it to be. Wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. I actually really dug the finish, though. I thought that was really unique, having him tap out to the swing, because by that point he had been swung like 30. He was in the 30s at that point. I actually liked the finish. I know a lot of people on social media were they were ripping on it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was really unique. I thought it was a good way to, I'm not saying that he's going to use that as his finisher, because I don't see that happening, but it was unexpected. It was kind of I don't want to say it wasn't a swerve, but we talk about it all the time, how there's unexpected things in wrestling that they don't happen very often. This was a cool, unexpected way to close the match, to put the belt back on Claudio. I applaud them for it, but at the same time, he should have never lost it in the first place.
Yeah, and
back to you.
I don't really have a problem with how the finish or how the match was. I just have a problem with the overall booking in general. Mm-hmm. Everyone was like, "Oh, they put the belts on Jericho. They get a TV deal because the TV deal is already done. Like, it's coming, and they're gonna use Jericho to whatever." That made sense to me. I could at least understand the argument. Now, one, it's clear the Jericho Appreciation Society is not going to be involved with ROH at all, because you had Daniel Garcia drop the Pure Championship as well.
Right.
So it looks more like the Blackpool Combat Club's about to be what's on ROH, with Claudio and with hold on. I just realized my Mac wasn't plugged in this entire time. It's giving me a warning. It's going to die.
Uh-oh. Can't have that.
Check. Okay, there we go. So I have an issue now, because I'm like, wait. You're going to charge $9.99 a month to watch ROH programming, and you just took the belts off the guy that would draw more viewership and give people more of a reason to pay $9.99. I mean, I said it from the jump. Claudio's a name. It's not like he's not a name. But if you're telling me that they took the belt off him to try to get a TV deal that would have costed nobody any extra money if they already had basic cable or a streaming service that had that channel, but now you're going to charge $9.99 a month, and your champions' names are as followed: Claudio Castagnoli, whatever Italian name you want to give it there.
Speaking of weird names, not to get off topic. Where's our buddy Mastacholi? Whatever happened to him? He was on every podcast and he just disappeared.
I'm gonna have to reach out to him
anyway.
So yeah, like he's your world champion. You have Wheeler Yuta. No one knows him unless you are a Wheeler Yuta fan. No one knows him. Samoa Joe, decent, not bad.
I don't see him holding that for very long though.
Athena, decent, but I don't know if everyone knows her as Athena.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get people to watch the product and know, oh, hey, I recognize her. The Briscoes, again, if you're not an indie person, you have no idea who they are. So if you're trying to draw new viewership and expect people to pay I'm telling you right now, I'm not paying $9.99 a month to watch ROH. It's not happening. You don't have there's not an established roster. There's not any reason that you've done in this past year or so of owning it to give me a reason to be like, hey, I want to pay $9.99 a month to watch this show. It's not happening. And I think they're going to learn really quick. Oh, WWE charged their network at what, $5.99 a month, wasn't it? Wasn't the network like maybe it was $10.99 a month or $9.99 a month? But with their stuff, you got like all the old footage. You got all these extra shows that came along with it. We're just talking about weekly programming for ROH. They might put their archives on there. That's cool, but like
you can already get their archives though. I mean, they have so many matches on YouTube already as it is.
Right. So and you're probably not going to pull them. So I don't know. I think this is bad booking from the standpoint of you just booked a deal or doing the Honor Club thing. Why would you not have Jericho retain this belt for a while, get people to be like, oh, I want to tune in because I'm a Jericho fan. I want to know what this Chris Jericho is doing over here in ROH.
Well, and that's what Chris said here, but like, that's our point. Like, you wouldn't have Jericho drop the belt. Like, if your aim was to either A, get a TV deal, or B, get the clicks for this paywall, keep the belt on Jericho. No offense to Claudio, but if the whole reason was to get people to pay for the Honor Club or to get a TV deal that maybe they didn't get for whatever reason, in either scenario, you don't take the belt off Jericho. So why did you put it on? Why did you put it on him in the first place?
The only name that you could have probably put it on other than Jericho would have been Bryan Danielson.
Yeah,
because the star power is there in the wrestling community, and I'm not an anti-Claudio guy, but no one knows him as Claudio.
Yeah,
and you've not really featured him on AEW television very well for people to get used to. Like, I still want to call him Cesaro.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you haven't integrated him in enough. So I Travis, let me just put this comment up. I wouldn't pay for it, period. And its current state, you got to give me something to value to want to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
I bought WWE Network because they showed me why I wanted it. They were able to give me a value and say, hey, for this much money a month, here's everything that you're getting. I enjoyed the table for threes. I enjoyed all of the different, little side shows, the car ride show that I forget what it's called. I think it was called Ride Along.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked watching all those little shows. They gave me more than just the weekly product on there, and on top of that, you get all the pay-per-views. They're not going to give us the pay-per-view on Honor Club for $9.99 a month.
No,
you're not even going to get the pay-per-view for that. You're going to pay $9.99 a month to watch 4 episodes of ROH.
At this point, what they should have done, if they really think that people are going to pay $9.99 with what they've given as a Ring of Honor presentation to this point, they are sadly mistaken. Like, at this point, what they should have done is just say, hey, we're going to put it on YouTube for free and get their revenue from ads. Or if they really are insistent upon putting it behind some kind of paywall, then make people pay 99 cents so they don't get the YouTube advertisements, like, and just call it a day. No one is paying $9.99 for this. I'm just,
could they
it's not
not have
happening.
could they not have striked a deal though with like Fight TV at least? I'm sure they would have entertained offers to because at least with Fight TV, your monthly subscription is getting you more than just the one ROH show a week. Like team it up with something. I know they said New Japan's going to be involved, and you think that's going to get people to click your stuff and pay, but I'm good. Like I will not pay $9, $10 basically a month to watch 4 ROH shows when you can't even make Rampage good with ROH people for free. I mean, like basically Rampage was your ROH show here in the recent, 6 months maybe, and you haven't made Rampage exciting to watch. So why would I pay $10 to watch it? You know what I mean? So
exactly. Yeah. Moving on to Deadline. Now Cole, you're gonna have to. You're going solo on this one as far as the reviews. I have not watched any of this, but we'll talk about it. So match number 1, Roxanne gets the win in the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge to become number 1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship, defeating Zoe Stark, Cora Jade, Kiana James, and Indy Hartwell.
So the first thing that stands out to me that I want to talk about is the Iron Survivor match itself. I like the concept. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if you got a chance to see what the rules were, but basically 2 people start off the match. I think it was 5-minute intervals. A new person enters the match. And basically it's an Iron Man match with 5 contestants, 6 contestants.
Yep.
So if you get a pinfall, the person that got pinned gets put in a penalty box for 90 seconds before they can re-enter the match. And at the end of the 25 minutes, whoever has the most pinfalls wins. The booking on one aspect was a little weird in both of these matches because I think they were confused on how the match worked with it being a new concept. The commentators, I should say, because the women's one I actually really enjoyed. The only negative and the only critique I can really give it is that Kiana James did not need to be in this match yet. I like her. I think she has a lot of potential. She didn't. Sorry, I bumped my thing. My mic's not staying. There we go. If you were to put that match card picture up, you would say which one is not like the others. That's what this match was for Kiana James. She's the only person in the match that didn't get a pinfall. They had her basically in there just to break up pinfalls, it seems like.
Yeah.
Could they not have used Nikita Lyons here, especially with the feud kind of between her and Zoe Starks? Could we not have thrown any, could we not have saved the Alba Fire stuff with what's her name, for another time? And not that their match is bad. We can talk about that when the time.
I heard it was terrible.
But the end, I didn't like the ending. But sticking with this match, like, you have other women's names. Could we not have used what's her name from UK? She was the women's champion for a while. The last one before Mandy unified them. Sakamura or Matamora.
I think
she's really good.
Yeah.
I hadn't really seen her stuff until she did the unification match. Could we not have gotten her involved in this? Could we not, like, all these women on your roster? We couldn't have got anybody else that's not, Kiana James, I think, has been on NXT television for like a month. All these other women have time to establish themselves. And I know Tegan Knox just made her return on SmackDown, but could she not have made an NXT appearance real quick? Just something like, you had the New Day on the card. Could you not have had a woman, Dana Brooke, whoever, come down and just be a participant in this match? So that was my only critique, is that I didn't think Kiana James really needed to be in this match. I don't think it helped her by being on an NXT pay-per-view in this capacity. And then, like I said, the confusion. They did this in both of the Iron Survivor matches. In this one, all the women had 1 pinfall each except for Kiana James. And so basically what would have happened is if the time ran out, it was going to go to sudden death between those 4 women. So now it's just a fatal 4-way match. and whoever gets the pinfall, the next pinfall wins. So they're all running around trying to get the pinfall, and with like maybe a minute left in the match, Perez got the second pinfall, so she's up, and they were like, now she has to avoid everybody else. She just has to make it 60 seconds, whatever. Why does she have to avoid people? She needs to keep people from getting a pinfall, not avoid them.
Yeah.
And they kind of did that with the men's one too, with Grayson Waller. They're like, he just has to, and I was like, no, if anything, he needs to be keeping, like, he shouldn't be running away from people. He should be like trying to keep everybody from getting another pinfall. So it almost seemed like they didn't know how to commentate the match really. And it's, how would you? You're the first person to ever commentate the match. It's a new match. So that was kind of my only other thing, was that I don't know if Booker and what's his name?
I know what you're talking about. I can think
if they knew how to kind of commentate this match clearly.
Yeah. No, I hear you. The next match, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing her name right. Isla Dawn. Okay. The S is silent. defeated Alba Fire. Match was less than 10 minutes. Like I said, I've not seen any of this card, but I heard this match was terrible.
Yeah, I did not like the finish at all. I didn't like the referee puking his guts up and all that stuff, having another ref come
Referee
out.
on one card gets busted open, the other is thrown up.
The match before that, it was kind of one of those good for NXT, not good for NXT pay-per-view or premium live event.
Stop it.
This match could have, again, I wouldn't have booked it, the ending, the way that they did. They should have just had a clean win, or a more clear-cut winner than having a referee choking on something.
Yeah.
But it made more sense for like an NXT regular weekly showing as far as the quality of match versus a pay-per-view-esque match.
Agreed. Next match, in the shocker of the night, and from what I've read, match of the night, New Day defeated Pretty Deadly to win the NXT Tag Team Championship in about 14 minutes.
New Day rocks. I mean, here's the thing. This is what I call good booking, because nobody in their right mind would have been like, oh, New Day's going over here. Not because New Day's bad, but you're like, oh, no, they're SmackDown talent. They're not going to get the win here. They're not going to hold the NXT titles here. They're not going to beat Pretty Deadly. None of that stuff. No, let the New Day be down there for like a month and a half, like through Rumble season, while they have nothing else that they can do. You already just had them face the Usos, who are holding 2 tag belts right now, too. So there's not much to do in the tag division if you're not the ones challenging for the belts. Let them go down to NXT. Let them do a match, some matches with Pretty Deadly. Let them do some matches with the Creed brothers. Let them kind of get some of these guys some experience wrestling with some experienced guys. There's so many. The match I didn't know that I needed was the Ricochet Carmelo Hayes match. They had a really great match. It was I didn't know what to expect in that. And this is kind of the same thing. I think there's a lot of New Day versus insert NXT tag team here match that we haven't seen that would be really, really good. So I love the booking. I don't know if I could give it match of the night. I don't know if I can give it match of the night, but I definitely enjoyed it, and I love the swerve. The swerve booking is definitely what helped it out a lot.
Grayson Waller gets the win in the men's Iron Survivor Challenge match, defeating Carmelo Hayes, JD McDonough, Joe Gacy, and Axiom.
Not a fan of the booking, but I do like the swerve, because at the end of the day, I think everyone thought Carmelo Hayes. I think
yourself included. Hey, I got this one right too.
I think everyone that as if you're an NXT fan right now, I think everybody wanted Carmelo Hayes, because without him having a championship, it feels like, what else does he do? Because he's such a good talker. He's good in the ring. I think he's eclipsed the North American title picture. So you don't want to just put him back into that. So what do you do with him? But Grayson Waller, the man's got heat. I mean, he does a good job at getting heat. And you need a good heel for Braun. especially after a storyline where there wasn't really a heel with Apollo Crews and this line, matchup that they just had. So I like it. It's another good person to put up against Braun for Braun to get a win over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's the guy to beat Braun Breaker for the belt. So, but I think there's good storyline, good promos here, good build up for whatever. I guess it's going to be a takeover or a stand and deliver for a Royal Rumble weekend.
Yep. And that brings us to the final match, Braun Breaker defeating Apollo Crews, 14.5 minutes. The only thing I heard about this match was that it did not at all feel like an NXT pay-per-view, but just more of an NXT weekly filler title match.
Yeah, so I actually would give this match the match of the night. Not because it was great by any means. But they had spots where they definitely both got to showcase their arsenal. They got to do this stuff. I think the problem with this match is no one really views Apollo Crews currently as a main event contender.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this has actually been my struggle with maybe the past 3 or 4 outside of the Tyler Bate title match with Braun, because that was good. JD McDonough didn't feel like a main event contender for the belt for me. Even the Von Wagner stuff didn't feel that way, and so you kind of keep putting him up against challengers and people over and over again that I'm just kind of like why was JD McDonough even involved in the Ilya Dragunov match? Like Ilya versus Braun is great. Ilya with JD McDonough was like, eh. So, I think that was the only downfall to this match, is that it doesn't feel main event-ish or pay-per-view-esque, or, main event pay-per-view-esque,
Mm-hmm.
because what have you done with Apollo since he's been back in NXT? You have him doing this weird sightseeing, future seeing gimmick, and you have him, fighting Grayson Waller. Other than that, there's nothing big about him. Honestly, if I was booking better and I know that he just returned from injury, I actually think I would have put Tony D'Angelo in the Iron Survivor and had him win, because there's some long-term storytelling you can do with Tony and Braun. Grayson Waller feels like a one-off even too. I don't know if there's a big-esque feel to that match for me.
So that being said, what's your well, we didn't do this for the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. What are your final grades for both events?
I want to start by saying I hope that they never double book these pay-per-views ever again. I don't like the watching, this. We've said this about Mania even too. That was like, I think the NXT pay-per-view was about 2.5 hours long. ROH was probably closer to 3 if I had to guess. It was about like 5 or 6 hours of matches after match. It's just there's so much content to try to. All of them feel like a blur, and that none of them. I'm gonna put it this way: there's not a single match on either of these cards that stood out so much more than another. They're all pretty close for me. I'm gonna give match of the entire day to FTR and the Briscoes with the dog collar match. But I'm gonna say ROH Final Battle. Outside of the dog collar match, I kind of feel like everything else was underwhelming. So I'm gonna sit at a C+ for Final Battle.
Okay.
For NXT Deadline, the Iron Survivors were really good. I really enjoyed that match, and so they had 2 of those. Those were entertaining. The New Day match was entertaining. You had a couple of matches on there that were just eh. So I'm probably sitting at like a B- on Deadline, just because I enjoyed the 2. The Iron Survivor matches definitely saved the day for me on that card, because the other, outside of New Day, the other 2 or 3 matches felt eh.
Someone alluded to this earlier on in the podcast when we were talking about Kylie Ray. At least for her dark match, they did change her name.
What's her name on the dark match?
Brianna Ray.
Huh.
Which, I mean,
That's her real name.
That's her real name, yeah, but still, I'm just kind of like, it's like, why do you have to?
That
Like,
could be her choice, though. If she's trying to protect
that's
her
true.
indie name, you
But
know.
like she spells it Kylie Ray, Rae. Brianna Ray is spelled with Ray. But I don't know. Maybe they could play off the whole like Ray, ray of sunshine. And I don't know.
What?
But
Yeah, true.
anyway, I just came across that and was like, wow, like they really went and changed it.
At least for now. You never know. She goes to NXT, she could end up being, some
something
weird
completely
name
different.
like Katana Chance or
Oh,
Alba
geez.
Fire or some horrible kayfabe name.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Guys, we'll make this short and sweet because I know we're kind of running late and we still got another segment I want to do. Just to remind you guys, we are still running our Pro Wrestling Tees promotion. If I can get it thrown up here. I don't know why it's taking so long. There it goes. Check us out at prowrestlingtees.com/GoingBrdwyPodcast. For every t-shirt that you purchase, you will be entered into a drawing to win a belt from us. It is a pre-selected belt that I already have in my possession, so it's not one that you get to pick. However, the winner will not be disappointed with it. Once again, for every shirt that you purchase, you get an entry. So if you purchase one shirt, you get one entry. If you purchase 10 shirts, you get 10 entries. So that is running until December the 31st. And why aren't my screens navigating? There we go. It's like it wasn't wanting to change. We are also hosting a Lunder Blaze / Medusa on Sunday, January the 8th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. So that'll be a fun conversation. It's been a minute since we've had a guest on, so that'll be a show that I'm looking forward to. As far as next week's show, did we ever decide on a time? Because I know
I think we said 9 p.m.
Okay,
CST.
that's what I thought too. So we'll be having some GBP late night next Sunday.
And I will be wearing my ugly sweater.
Oh yeah, because that'll actually be our last podcast for the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we talked about maybe doing one the day after New Year's, but we haven't said anything yet. So I think that is our last one for the month.
So yeah, next week, GBP late night, join us 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. GBP late night is what we're officially going to call it. Ugly Christmas sweaters will be donned, and you will all watch us with our ugly sweaters, and you will like it, and you will not have a thing to say about it. GBP After Dark. I like that. I like that better.
Yeah, and you're going to want to be here for it because we wrap up 12 Days of Christmas.
Indeed, we do.
Tonight. So after the podcast, we're doing a after party. We have our 6-man elimination chamber match. It is day 12. It is finally here. So you will want to. I love it.
Sorry, it was on loop.
You will want to join us for that to see who gets the last entry into that drawing. But on GBP, what are we calling it? After Dark?
We'll call it GBP After. Well,
GBP Dark.
GBP After Dark or GBP Late Night. I like After Dark better.
After Dark. So GBP After Dark, we will be doing the drawing live on that show. So you're going to want to be there for that so you can find out if all of the efforts that you put into the gaming tournament pays off or not. We've been having too much fun over there. We've been talking about it in our Discord chat. It only takes one entry to win. It only takes one entry to win a drawing. We got King of the Ladder match over here in David Tilley, who's got 4-0 wins in ladder matches and four
insane.
Entries. Tonight, Andrew Boehner could be getting his 4th drawing if he wins the elimination chamber. You got someone like Robert Ritter, who's only had 3 entries. He could go 3-0 tonight and capitalize on that. You have someone like Thomas Russell, who's 0-7 with all of his entries. And
rub it in.
But I feel for him because if you go and look at all his picks, he had great picks in every single match. Bruce Jackson.
You want to know what it is? You want to know what it is? I got a better version of it.
What a miscarriage of justice!
There we go.
So I love these gaming tournaments. I do want, because we don't have many podcasts before it will start, I do want to highlight that 2023 we have a ton planned for the gaming side of our podcast. More specifically, January, we are going to be doing multiple Royal Rumbles, and we are taking your suggestions that you've given us on them. So there will be a women's one. There will be a men's one where you select the spot, not the wrestler, the spot. And this time around, I believe we tiered those spots off. So the lower entry spots are cheaper than the higher entry spots.
That's how we will do them. We haven't done it that way yet.
That's the decision that we made moving forward. So, for instance, I don't know exactly what our tier numbers are, but to give you an idea, spot 1 might be $5, but spot 30 might be 13, 14, somewhere in there. So, to kind of make those spots a little bit more doable. But we also are going to do 2 Royal Rumbles where you select the wrestler, not the spot. So you can select whatever wrestlers you want, but the spots are all going to be random. You will not know if you're 130 or 22. You could be anywhere in that match, and we'll do one women's and men's. And my goal, my plan, I wanted to do this. Alex knows my struggle and my heartbreak when it happened. He came over for, what was that, Survivor Series? And I showed him all of I had downloaded all these characters, y'all. I think maybe 60 plus.
There were dozens of them.
Downloads. I had your Adam Coles, your Adam Pages, your Kenny Omegas, your Okadas. I had women downloaded in Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green and all these people. My goal is to get all of them re-downloaded. I fixed all their overalls. I spent hours on that, and I got a message on my Xbox one night that said all data is corrupted. It all got deleted. I almost cried. My goal is to get that fixed before the Rumble, so you'll be able to select from many other names other than just what's on the roster. And I'm going to try to purchase as many of the unlockable characters that I can before then, so you guys can choose whoever you want. We will. Oh, I bumped my thing in. This is really touchy today. There we go. Check. Come on. Hello. Check.
I can still hear you.
The mic is really loose on me. There we go. Okay, there we go. So my goal these weeks off that we don't have shows and over the little holiday break is to get everyone downloaded so that you guys can have whoever you want. But we're going to be doing 4 of them. They're a lot of fun. We'll be broadcasting them. And then in 2023, I won't talk too much about it, but just be prepared for GBP pay-per-views. That's all I'm going to say. We'll explain more in 2023, but we have GBP pay-per-views coming, and I am super stoked about it. So.
Pay-per-views, not premium live events. Jerks. Hey, and one thing I want to speak to as far as these Rumbles that we're going to do next month, it is imperative that if you want first dibs on some of these events, become a patron, because patrons will get first dibs as they did on the 12 Days of Christmas. And as a lot of you saw with the 12 Days of Christmas, I think it was like 52 of the 63 total slots were already taken before it even got posted to our Facebook page. So,
and moving forward, depending on what tier you are as patrons, is going to determine how many spots you can pre-save ahead of time. So consider becoming a patron member, but that's going to be going forward for all of the gaming stuff.
Yep.
So if you want to have first dibs on your choice of wrestler spots, all that stuff, you're going to want to be consider becoming a patron. Yes, the $5 one will still give you early access, but not as much as it will if you're a platinum. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of everybody based off of the level of membership that they have. So just keep that in mind. You get what you pay for. So if you go for the $5 one, you might only get 1 or 2 early entries, which is better than none. But platinum we might let Andrew Boehner get 55 of them. And I'm just joking.
Well,
and I don't know what tier he is, but he literally has an entry in every day, all of the 12 days.
Yeah.
Of Christmas this
Yeah,
time.
he maxed out the 2 per day that he could take. So, but I mean, as far as our upper level tiers, the gold and platinum tiers, just another perk of those is if you're a gold level, you can be on a podcast with us once a year. If you're a platinum, you can be on with us twice a year. So, and you, for the most part, you guys get to pick those dates. It can't coincide with any other guests that we have on. It also cannot coincide with, another patron. But for the most part, 95% of the dates throughout the throughout the calendar year, you'd get to pick the date. So, but yeah, I think we mentioned everything. We're going long. I think I'm actually going to call it a night. Because the what if segment, I think, would be long, not long-winded, but it would probably be a good 15 minutes. And I'm trying to keep these podcasts close to an hour and a half. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to post in our Discord, one of our Discord chats, the what if scenario that I had in mind, and I'll let you guys kind of discuss the ramifications of it. And I'll post that as soon as we jump off here. Probably just post it in our weekly podcast thread, and you guys can discuss. But yeah, unfortunately, it is about that time though. Cole, any final thoughts?
Guys, as always, thank you for watching the greatest wrestling podcast ever. We do sincerely appreciate it. Again, I want to reiterate, as soon as this podcast is over, give me about 5 minutes to get the Twitch set up for the gaming, and we will produce day 12 of the 12 Days of Christmas tonight. It is an Elimination Chamber match. Should go on for 20, 30 minutes at most.
It should.
So
We'll
hop in for that, see who gets the dub there. Don't forget, late night GBP After Dark next Sunday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll want to join us for that, because that's when we'll reveal our winner of that raffle, of that drawing. So you want to be there for that. Don't forget about the GBP shirt giveaways. That's a big deal. Again, consider becoming a patron now, so you're already set up for what we have in store for 2023. It's going to be a great year. We're super excited about it. We're constantly brainstorming. We're looking at hats. I mean, we're constantly doing things to try to better our community, better our podcast. And last but not least, if you're here tonight, it's your first time listening, or it's your first time in a long time, and you want a great, positive, uplifting wrestling community to be a part of, look no further. The GBP community is a great community, and we have a Discord chat that you can join. Hit us up, and if you're on Twitch, on the Whispers, if you're, go check out our Instagram page. You can DM us on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook, and we'd be happy to give you a link to get into our Discord, and you can chat it up with us. We have a lot of fun.
And please share that Discord with anyone you would like. If it's friends, family, if they watch our show or not, just the community by itself is it's worth being in. It's free, so they can just chime in if they watch wrestling. Maybe they could enjoy a community that also enjoys wrestling. So
yeah, come chat it up with us.
And as far as that what if I alluded to, I just posted that, so you guys can chime in and discuss. But before you do that, make sure you join Cole here in a few minutes.
Other than that, guys, if you're not going to make it to the Twitch stream, have a great Monday night. Enjoy the rest of your work week. Enjoy Monday Night Raw, NXT, AEW, SmackDown. Plenty of wrestling still to go in the month of December here. But I failed to do this last week. I need to make up for it. I'll leave you guys with your favorite thing in the entire world.
Got to give the people what they want. Guys, join Cole here in a few minutes. Join us for GBP After Dark next week. We'll see you then.